Hello, my name is Marcus. I'm the compiler of a collection of therapy quotes entitled 1001 Windmills of the Mind, a collection of advanced self-help quotes taken from what's often called the psychodynamic or the psychoanalytic perspective, which long ago, as I was referred to myself, or perhaps many, as philosophical medicine and narrative medicine. Narrative, trying to find a story. Story implies a sense of time. A sense of time makes you realize you're in the present, not the past. But your unconscious is very convinced that there is no time, and trauma freezes time, and trauma you repeat, hoping to get mother's love, to resume development, to have your sense of self in your golden ball. And there's pain when you don't get that chance to do so. So you're suspended in a state of timelessness. Yes, the ego splits. You understand time in terms of the reality of the world, in terms of paying the bills, driving a car. But what you're really needing is the feeling self, the ontological self, the sense of self. It's the quality of these feelings that determines the quality of our life, or it's the quality of our feelings that determines the quality of our life. We live to the extent that we feel. I feel, therefore I am. So this vital self, core self, true self, called the embodiment and soulment. Okay, the embodiment, you feel real alive, embodiment, soulment. Okay, the golden ball represents the radiance of the feelings. So in the Iron John story, you got the wild man and the golden ball locked in a cage, symbol of trauma. Okay, that's for men. For women, it could be the princess flies away. Sophia Loren on another island in the Cinderella Italian style fairy tale film, 1967 film. One second. Public place, so as usual, will be a few interruptions here. Okay, where are we? Yeah, so the 1967 film by Sophia Loren, it was a fairy tale, Cinderella fairy tale. She is a personification of the embodiment, the feminine being is the embodiment, the soulment. Usually in fairy tales, it's the beautiful woman, because the budding beauty, like Snow White, Rapunzel, all these princesses. So she represented the princess, and she was exiled, sent away, right? And this whole story. So that means, so another way of saying it is the miscord in the Greek myth, earth opens up a crack, she gets pulled down. Sometimes the princess poops into a bird and flies away, morphs into a fox and runs away. The echo turns to storm, exiled, lost, go I know not whither. The metaphor means this quality of feeling, we the life symbolized like that, is unavailable to us. There's a pain, so swoon, numb, or kind of numb. Yesterday's topic with the sleepwalking idea. So numb, you feel like life is passing you by, living the unlived life, provisional life, something's missing, what's wrong? You feel slightly unreal, you feel a little numb all the time. So that's the issue here. We want to feel real and alive. That's our sense of self, our embodiment. We're meant to have it. It's a natural state of affairs. It's healthy like that, psychological, emotional, physiological, overall health. We're meant to be whole and complete like that. Health and healing, same idea. Wholeness and health like that. The fragmentation is your budding beauty. Your ontological are feeling real. We're mammals. We got bodies. We got bodies. We have bodies. Okay, bodily commotions are called emotions. Emotions in the body. You need a body for emotions. We need emotions. Okay, the primary emotions from the feeling self: interest, curiosity, joy. And with the vital self, you got the pleasure of the blue jay, the bluebird of happiness when you express what's unique about you. Okay, there's a pleasant feeling when you identify what's unique about you and share it with everybody. It's a natural state of affairs to share your gift. Everybody has a little unique gift to share. They're meant to do that. That's meaning, path of heart. To share your gift like that. The Great Spirit, everybody gave a little unique gift to share. Never in all of history was there ever anybody like each person. Likewise in the future, everyone's unique like that. And the backdrop is the odds of anybody being here are 1 in 400 trillion. And the person's unique, so they're meant to express that. But trauma, that uniqueness is frozen. That vital self, true self, unique self is frozen. You're dealing with the limbic system, the amygdala, the stress response. So the brain has 3 parts, famous 3-in-1 brain. Survival brain, limbic, either or, jungle, feeling, mammal, living and loving, cooperative, and the thinking cortex. The cortex is meant to express what you're feeling. The survival stuff's just, momentary emergencies, driving a car kind of thing. It's not meant to be, you're not meant to live 24/7, hyper-vigilant, hyper-alert, 24/7, always jungle. You're not meant to be in that kind of state right there. We're meant to come from the feeling place And with the feeling place, you have an I, the core I, and with the I can feel a loss, so there's no complicated grief. If you can't feel a loss, you need an I to say I felt a loss. No I, you can't say I felt a loss. So if there's losses, there's stress, you get more stress. Complicated grief, the inability to mourn, pathological mourning, melancholia, okay, the derailment of the grief process, okay, pathological mourning, complex bereavement disorder, ambiguous loss. You can't like admit a loss, so you're kind of like frozen. You can't let go, you can't admit a loss, so you're stuck there like that. Because to admit a loss, it feels like you lose yourself, because babies are one with the mother. So the prototype is, the baby can't not have a mother because you have no self. So if it's frozen there, later on the prototype, in the present, you go by the map. The map is the recognize the loss of the mother in the mind, loss yourself. So recognize the loss of the present. It feels like you go by the map, you lose yourself. Psychic, interpersonally, interpsychic. You go by the interpsychic. The interpsychic is your blueprints. You go by these interpsychic memories like that. All the blueprints and memories and conclusions, existential conclusions, and it's laid in like the interpersonally, interpsychic, interpersonally, interpsychic. A human connection leads to neural connection. The neural connection in the beginning is oneness. So if the mother's not there, the baby would perish, obviously. Called annihilation anxiety, disintegration anxiety. He might make it, but he'd be so flooded with cortisol, he'd hurt himself with all the cortisol, right? If there's no mother. We know that. No baby would make it with the mother. But what he ends up with is the mother is not totally absent, so she's erratic, so it's a traumatic attachment, so he compromises in a certain way, but at sacrifice. So his budding beauty is frozen, Snow White flies away. I mean, Snow White in a coma, Rapunzel on a tower, and he's dealing with this limbic system of the memory. That mother failed him, mother betrayed him, mother was around, misattuned, malatune, used the child, wasn't around, mother was ill, couldn't meet the baby's needs, child couldn't go through the developmental process, but frees up his soul. Now he's dealing with this traumatic survival thing. It is survival for the baby, so now it was cursed, it's jinxed with the survival mentality, either or mentality. Child copes with either or thinking, my greedy, your greed kind of thing, either be mentality. Thinks he's operating from the survival place, right? In the mind like that. So there's different strategies there. You can identify with the aggressor, treat others the way you were treated. In healthy development, it's both and, but in traumatic development, it's either or. So if you maintain the either or, you don't progress. And you maintain the either or to maintain the tie, to maintain the hope. And you traumatized by your mother. In a way, you can say it's kind of like your mother wanted oneness from you. Your mother wanted you to save her. Now you got this constant paying the piper. Oh, today's on paying the piper idea. You always feel guilty and got to pay the piper. Dysfunction, pay the piper. Dysfunction, repetition, compulsion. Stay tied, stay self-defeating. Don't betray your mother. Don't leave her. Pay the piper. Okay, so the piper means the mother wanted oneness. The mother wanted healing. Turn to the baby. Baby can't do it. Traumatized. So now he's got to pay the piper. He can spend the rest of his life paying the piper like that. Called unconscious guilt, debt, due, guilt, always like that. So that's a new one today. This phrase about the piper idea. Oh. Let me change it up there, baby. Why don't we do that repetition compulsion idea? So repetition compulsion, Paul Libby Russell sort of our lead author on it. Think of it as synonymous. You repeat, you're in pain, you want mother's love. You can't develop without mother's love. So you're frozen waiting for it. Now you're in pain, waiting. You cope in a certain way, defensive structure, neurotic structure, either or, identification of the aggressor. Okay, and then you gotta repeat by looking for her through symbolic means. Doesn't work. Identify with her and treat others the way you were treated. Doesn't work. And all these coping strategies discussed in previous videos here. Let's not redo. I'm having an off day today. I'm having a bit of an off day today, so I'm not going to be speaking, in a very relaxed, enthusiastic manner. My cheerful mood, my mood is a little off here today. I'm not fully rested kind of thing. So this video, I'll be making more bloopers and speaking mistakes. So let's do the best we can here. Actually, I won't even be previewing some new quotes because I want to play catch up a little bit. So yesterday I did a preview of 33, 44, and 5, but I'm only posting here 3207 I think today. 30. So I got this backlog of almost 40 pages. So I won't, for the next little while, I'm not gonna maybe do previews of upcoming quotes because I want to catch up and have it aligned where what I'm talking about aligns with the quote in the page here. So for the next maybe month or so, I'm going to try to catch up. So what I'll do in the videos to allow me to space the postal codes in order to catch up, I'm just going to read some dictionary entries. I found the dictionary this morning. It's very good, I thought. 1970 dictionary by a guy named Robert Goldenson. He's a psychology professor at some local college back in the 60s and 70s, 50s, 60s and 70s, in the heyday of it all. And he has just little essays, like little articles on different basic terms. I thought he's a clear writer. His wife helped him immensely. She did all the typing, all the typing and editing and all that. So it was sort of a bit of a team like that. And it's pretty good. I don't really see it. I've never really noticed it before, to tell you the truth. There's no reprinting. There's no. It's funny because later on, the same title was used by some other people, and it's just watered down, not frivolous pop psychology, psychology today kind of general stuff. But he's a little more specific, a little more helpful. So this older one is helpful. It's called the Encyclopedia of Human Behavior, in 1970, and it's a 2-volume. It's a massive 2-volume mini encyclopedia. So I like what he did, kind of thing. So I'll for the next little while, I'm gonna just read entries from his dictionary to give me the chance to catch up. And so I'll just read, but they won't be really in the collection, I don't think, because I want to have a chance to post the quotes. I have like an overlapping. I've got like a lag, like an overlapping delay lag. So I've got like a gap like that. So I want to create a video, have the description box, the postal quotes, but not discuss future quotes. So just talk to allow me to post. So I want to post 3207 in this video, but I don't want to talk about 3350 something. And again, I want to be aligned like that. So I'm trying to finally catch up here. So does that make sense? So I'm relieved to find this dictionary because I think it'll occupy me for a little while here. So let me start off with this entry on repetition compulsion here. So you're in pain, you want to repeat, you want a better outcome for the past, you want other stuff in the past so you can have your identity and your golden ball. We're meant to develop through a developmental process to have our vital self, our core self, and our feeling self, all the capacities, mutuality, companionate love, relating thou to thou, person to person, a weave that you can build and the two grow. So creativity and freshness and aliveness, and the marriages become like fine wine because you're growing together, rather than the trauma of your unmet symbiosis. You marry someone and repeat the rejection, repeat the failure, hoping for a better past. So when you're traumatized in the past, you're stuck there and you just reenact, relive, recreate, replay symbolically the past again and again. A Sisyphus hamster wheel Klegos called reliving, reenactment. Okay, so I've been using Berger's metaphor, the 45 record. Every neurotic is a music enthusiast, but he only has one 45. He carries it with him everywhere he goes, every new situation. He reels off, he spins off, he plays his one and only tune. The tune is unprocessed, unmet needs. When real needs are not met, you're in pain, you want to get those needs met, but the present and the past, so you want to do symbolically. So symbolically, in the present, you symbolically relive, symbolically the past. It's only symbolic. It's not the actual past, no time machine, but the survival brain does not know time, but there is time. So in the real time, it's just a mirage of the past, but the unconscious doesn't think in those terms. It's just still trying to get mother stuff. There's a bit of sweet. You're always looking for mother stuff, and you're not in that time. And so that's the nature of trauma. Trauma suspends time, it freezes time, no sense of time there in the unconscious. There's no time in the unconscious. And trauma took place so early on with the baby. It could be at birth, before birth, perinatal trauma. It's usually called the relational trauma, interpersonal trauma, developmental trauma, strain trauma, ambient trauma, betrayal trauma, weaning trauma. The new one is umbilical trauma. Let's try that one out for a bit. and a few other kind of traumas like that. So this means the baby's needs for safety, rhythm of bliss, rhythm of oneness, the attunement, the entrainment, mother's reverie, mother's sweetness, mother's tenderness, mother's safety, this cocoon, this nest, this metaphorical social egg called Gardibina Shabala, extended paradise, so we can blossom in the soil of the tube, symbiotic in the tube. The budding beauty can blossom like a flower in the soil, can blossom. You feel real alive. That's all frozen. Survival brain. Survival brain. Oh my God, pain. Where are you, mother? Rejection. Where are you, mother? Failure. Where are you, mother? Rejected again. Where are you? Betrayed again. Where are you? Betrayed again. So you go through life betrayed. So cigarette, betrayed. Drink, betrayed. Food, betrayed. Money, betrayed. No matter what material, no matter what money, no matter what thing, no matter what status, no matter fill in the blank, it's always a betrayal and rejection. No sibling or mother is actually real mother back in the past. Or the flip version, the third one is you treat others the way your mother treated you, and others are a proxy of you crying for love, and you say no to them. And then insult to injury, the one you shame who plays you, you think it's your mother and you just direct your anger at them. So you shame them and you hate them like that. It's disturbing stuff. So others play you, and you think the proxy of you is going to get your mother's love, and you say no to your own proxy, kind of thing. So it's really messed up. So this is the problem with trauma. We can't just brush it off. Oh, mother failed me. She's in pain. She was busy. Oh, I'll understand it. Babies can't understand. They have no ego, no mind to understand. They have no empathy to understand like that. They're totally passive dependent. They totally trust the mother. That's why it's a betrayal trauma. Okay, that's why it's a huge betrayal trauma. Emily Dickinson, a great hope fell. You heard no noise. The wreckage was within. Oh, cunning tale that let no witness in. The cunning tale. This convoluted tale. No baby can know this. So, out of the pain of it all, okay, his rageous mother rebounds in himself. Now he's hurting himself. Okay, internal saboteur, self-saboteur. Okay, this is he's attacking himself. This is called the anti-self system now. His own anger at the mother, which is a cry for love. The baby's anger is a cry for love. Block turns it himself. To maintain the cry for love to the mother, he's got to hate himself. Hating himself equals the cry, the tie to the mother. The tie to the mother, the hope for the mother is to hate himself. The only way to have a link to the mother is to hate himself. Self-defeating. Too much pain. Bergler says he pleasurizes it. A trick called psychoanalysis, whereby he searches for symbols. He feels important. He triggers, the symbol triggers the memory, the womb utopia days, and the pleasurable chemicals from the past, split in with the current pain. And now you're dependent and addictive. Okay, Alman and Paul called it an ersatz self-object, addictive trigger mechanism, and now you're stuck with this dilemma where you're in this rigmarole, Mark Twain's misery machine, where you got to chase for some of the trigger the good old days to feel better for the moment. Now, when you chase a dopamine, it's exciting, you anticipate, but it's a failure. But when you anticipate, you expect mother, but it's not mother, so it's going to fail again. But in the pursuit mode, in the excitement mode, that's called dopamine. Dopamine is exciting because you think you're going to get mother, but it's not mother. A great hope fell. Think about a slot machine. Oh, mother, click, click, reject it. Put another coin in, reject it. Eat a cookie, reject it. Every time you do this, you're going from mother to mother to mother, rejection to rejection to rejection. It's a record. It's a 45. Klegos, hamster wheel. Okay, Santiana, again and again and again. Dysfunction, repetition, compulsion, symbolic repetition, enacting on. All of this stuff is the hope to get mother's love on the board, and a skip thing. It's like a record with a broken, skipping all the time. We're just repeating. Mother, where are you? Now, in the activity of repeating, part of it is the dopamine gives you the hope, and when you get something symbolic of mother, it triggers the good old days of the womb utopia days, so you feel better for the moment. The happy chemicals blip up over the pain. The pain drives it, so it's pleasurized. The pain is pleasurized, called the pleasurization of pain. The rehabilitization of pain, called psychomasculine. Pleasure and displeasure phenomenon. Don't want to know this. Major crime. No one wants to believe mother hurt the baby. No one wants to believe mother failed the baby, rejected the baby, and the baby's angry the mother, attacking himself as a loyalty to the mother. As a loyalty to mother betraying the baby. Mother betrays the baby, he attacks himself, and he's in pain, now he's got to pay the mother. I owe you. What the hell? Mother betrays the baby, you don't want to know. You hurt yourself because you're crying for love, and now you're guilt, debt, you got to owe. Now the owe means, dependence means, okay, you're going to be dysfunctional. And this is the tie, because the O means you thought your mother wanted us. You thought mother wanted you to save her, cure her, heal her, because the mother was trying to get her needs met. The mother didn't get her needs met, so she turned to the child, hurt the child as a communication, as an anger. You meet my needs. It's conditional. I can't meet your needs. Children do everything they can to get along with the mother. So, okay, mother, I'll sacrifice myself, and this is my way to have an attachment to you. I'm forced to have a sacrum. I'm forced to have attachment with you because you need me to save you. Fine, I'll give up myself. I'll play a role for you. I'll sacrifice my vital self. I'll be in this looping thing, and I'll be in pain, and I'll always have penance. The Piper one, I guess. So there's a new one. I just found it this morning here about this idea of unconscious guilt, paying the piper all that. So mother's the piper, got to pay the piper. You got to pay me. Mother said to baby, I made you define me. Okay, mother, I owe, right? I have a debt to you. Yeah, I made you define me. Oh, I got to pay the piper. I'm in debt to you. I'm always in debt to you, for Pete's sakes, right? Interesting, I think. What's an old one, eh? That's what I like about these old books. Sometimes you get some phrases, not the greatest objects here today. Maybe I can change it up. I'm going to change it up here a bit. I do it like this. Is that better? Is that a little better? It's kind of nice when it was raining. It was cooler. It was raining for a few days here. It was nice and cool, breezy and rainy. Yeah. Let's jump to that. Hang on. Repetition compulsion. The unconscious needs to reenact early traumas in an attempt to get a better outcome. Overcome it, master it, not be pained by it, have a different outcome. You want to resolve it, you want mother's love, you want to, you're in pain, you want to get out of the pain, you want a proper outcome, you repeat for the proper outcome. You repeat to get mother's love, quote unquote master or undo or get mother's love, right? The unconscious need to reenact early traumas in an attempt to get a better outcome, or overcome it, or master it, or whatever. The painful early experience is repeated in a new situation. In a new situation. In the present, it's a new situation, but it's symbolic. It's symbolic of the repressed prototype. It's symbolic of the repressed prototype. That's a good one. Repressed prototype. Neurosis is the petrification of this conflict, of this memory. It's repressed. It's neurotic. It's repression. Neurosis is the freezing, the petrification, the dead frog, whatever, it's like frozen like that, and it's repressed. It's a conflict, the wish and the fear, need and the fear, frozen, repressed. Okay, repetition compulsion, that's the prototype. The present is just mirage-like symbolic versions of this. Mirage version of the past, mirage of the past. Repetition compulsion. Again, the early painful experience, right? Emily Dickinson, a great hope fell. You heard no noise, the wreckage was within, O cunning tale that let no witness him. Again, another version of her poem is, there's a pain so utter, it swallows substance up, and the person goes into a swoon, called the numbing, and it's sleepwalking. The early painful experience is repeated in a new situation, symbolic of the repressed prototype. You got a prototype. Baby wants to be himself. Mother says, it's all about me. I'm not available for you. I'm soul blind to you. I can't meet your needs. You meet my needs. That's the prototype. Ouch. Pain. Repressed. Cope. Numb. Either or thinking. Jungle mentality. And repeat. And it froze him. He tried to be himself. Mother squashed him. He felt stressed. He numbed out. Either or. You do either or and you numb out. You got this kind of setup called a defensive shell, a defensive structure, a false self, persona, a mask, some kind of thing you do called defense mechanism. There's a purpose for defense mechanism. These defense mechanisms protects the child like an armoring. It's a shielding him. He copes in a certain way. He adapts to the situation. He's hurt, but he adapts. But it makes him dysfunctional and a curse. He calls it destiny. He calls it another new term. What do they call it again? Destiny neurosis. Because your future is to recreate the neurosis. That's a new one, right? So when Lucy Holmes wrote that book, Wrestling with Destiny, I got a feeling she kind of meant it from this thing. So your destiny is that you're going to repeat your neurotic status. This fate, this jinx, this curse, it's not some outer thing that gave you this curse. It just feels like, no, you create it. Destiny neurosis. Neurosis creates your destiny. Neurosis creates your fate. Neurosis makes you repeat. So it looks like a fate, looks like a thing you got to do over and over again, but it's within your psyche. You created it, you adapted it, you created this imprint. And repetition compulsion means you keep repeating them. So that's all it means. You're responsible. It's your life. It's your unconscious. You got to update. You got to identify it. Don't blame some outer thing. Don't blame something on the outside doing this to you. You're doing it to yourself. Can't you see? Can't you see? Can't you see? You are your own worst. Okay, fill the blank. Play the song Self-Saboteur by the band Delirium. Played it here recently. Yesterday we played another Delirium song called Fallen at the park there yesterday. Oh boy, yeah. I'm not in a calm, easygoing mood here today, am I? Repetition compulsion, the unconscious need to reenact early traumas in an attempt to get a better childhood past, or overcome it or master it, however you want to say it. The early painful experience is repeated in a new situation, symbolic of the repressed prototype. I like this phrasing. That's a new one. Symbolic of the repressed prototype. So your thing you're doing again and again and again is only symbolic of the repressed prototype. You got a prototype, right? You got a prototype, an original prototype, frozen, and you just repeat it in a mirage of the repressed prototype. You're hoping for a proper outcome for the past. You're hoping for a memory that mother loved you, and you have your budding beauty and your feeling self. You can express, you live in love. You want a different past. You want a past where mother loved you, but the present is not the past. But you're in a compulsion to get mother's love. So it's symbolic. So it's only symbolic. What else can it be? It's not. It can't be real because there is time. But the unconscious survival brain doesn't know time. Okay, acts. Repetition compulsion acts as an unconscious. Okay, the shrinks are always saying this. It's a worthwhile point here. It's considered a resistance. It's considered a resistance because you're supposed to remember. When you repeat, you don't remember. So it's a defense against memory. You just repeat. At the same time, you're trying to remember. So that's the issue. Your unconscious wants you to remember. Your unconscious saying, it's like this in your soul here. This is what happened. Here's the prototype. Repeat. This is the prototype. Come on, be aware of it. So you repeat. You're meant to observe it. That's a communication from your unconscious self, your shadow self, your secret self, your double self, your hidden self, the one who walks with you, who's not like you. Who is you? Someone's living my life. And another thing about this unknown part of you called the unconscious self. It's trying to communicate to you in an action way. So he's saying to you, come on, conscious. I'm making you repeat again and again, and could you please observe, step back and observe? This is what happened. What you're doing is symbolic of the past. So we're trying to remember. Now, if you insist, no, I'm not going to remember, you'll just keep repeating until you do. Mr. Freud's most famous essay, memory, repeating, working through. We don't remember, so we repeat. When we remember, we stop repeating. But this idea of remembering, it's an experiential knowing. Okay, affect, syntax, apprehension, comprehension. Okay, body, mind. Okay, it's a whole person memory, not just in your head. It's got to be a feeling called emotional knowing, and intellectual knowing. He calls it true cognition. A true cognition includes affect, not just Mr. Descartes. I think I feel it's both. I think I feel and think together in a linking way. He calls it affect, syntax, apprehension, comprehension. Okay, the body, it affects the data, and you got to be aware of it. And this kind of it's a complete knowledge. It's a true cognition. The true cognition is the truth. The truth will set you free. Then you remember. You stop repeating, because when you remember, now you realize it's the present. You're not in the past. Okay, now you kind of when you're aware of this, you're strong enough to handle the truth. Then it's kind of released. Then in the theater of the mind exercise, the chains, you emancipated yourself from mental slavery kind of idea. So then now you're free for the present. But you're tied to the past. You're quote-unquote paying penance. Yesterday he had that thing about the sentence. Yeah, when you're traumatized, like a sentence, do. No, yesterday, what's his name? Mark Wolin, is that right? He had this thing about when you're traumatized, like a sentence. You're paying a due. Like, yeah, today another one, I'll do it. He called it a sentence. He said, well, change the sentence to a grammar sentence. From sentence to sentence. If you have a grammatical sentence about talking about your worst fears and who it belongs to, and imagine that your parent has that fear, and say, I honor you, to be happy, you release the sentence of trying to save your mother. Isn't it bittersweet? So he has an exercise on how to get out of this. discussed yesterday from his popular self-help book called It Didn't Begin With You. So I don't cover the whole book, just that little one exercise of his. So again, you just quickly, you fill in a sentence. If my life went all wrong, everything fell apart, what am I afraid the worst would happen? You fill in the blank, okay, and then you identify which parent that might be. Just imagine one of the parents feels that. Okay, imagine them as a child with those fears, and say thank you to your parent as a child. Thank you for all that you've done. I will honor you by being happy. So now you break the guilt, because the parents want your children to be happy, but that's the true thing. But when parents have a compulsion to get a better past, they traumatize the kid. Then the child feels guilty. It's an unconscious thing. But the truth, the deeper truth, is parents want their children to be happy. So you say to your parents as little children, I will honor you, parent, by being happy. So that's an interesting exercise. Check that out yesterday. But his play on words was, you feel like kind of a sentence, like guilty, the charge, guilty, no trial, no jury, just guilty. Children feel guilty, death, pain. So you want to update the sentence. You want to get out of that sentence, that guilt sentence. You create a linguistic conscious grammar syntax sentence called the core sentence. I'm afraid this will happen. Okay, so transfer to one of the parents. They're afraid of it. Poof them to a little size, time machine. Imagine you visit your father's home when he was a child, suffering with those fears. Likewise with your mother. And then say, I will honor you by being happy. Now that's what parents want. And you can be free from that. And these things happen in the twilight zone. You can be free from the twilight zone. Dead cargo from the twilight zone. A useless burden. It's a useless burden to spend your life in a state of conscious guilt, thinking that by being dysfunctional, you'll save your parent, cure your parent, free your parent. It's impossible. It's impossible. No baby can be a mother for the parent. And you're criticizing yourself for this because your anger at her is attacking yourself. And your anger attacking yourself is you are turning to yourself to be your own mother. So it never works. So perfectionism never works. Come on. So you're attacking yourself. Okay, pleasurize it. Make yourself numb with the cookies and all that. Oral fixations. Okay, the top layer of the cake is called rationalization, excuses and cloaks and all that. You need to know. You don't want to know. And then so this is a kind of a shell like that. It keeps you in the past. So if this is a bubble in the past, solipsistic, self-contained pseudo thing that's going on, dysfunction, like an armor. Imagine somebody walking down the road, kind of armor, unflexible, can't relax, kind of rigid like that. So something good in life, they can't accept. They create it to the past. So in relationships, they coax people to be. So you choose people who remind you of the past, see people in the present, ask people in the past, or coax people in the present to be like the past. You're just living in the past all the time. You don't want to get out. You don't want something new because it breaks you out of your armor, which will lead to all that anxiety. He calls it disintegration anxiety. So as defense against that massive anxiety that all babies feel if they have no mother and all that, that's why the defense mechanism protects you. Your unconscious wants the defense. Your unconscious wants the symptom because something worse would happen. Consciously, you get to a place where you don't want it. But unconsciously, you do want it. Okay, so Carl Menninger, theater of mind exercise, do your past me letters, okay, got to resolve either or to get it to both and then other exercises like that. Let's go back to this one here. Unfinished business. Oh, where's it here? Oh, here it is here. Oh, here it is here. Unfinished business with either parent can cloud our work life as well as our social life. By unconsciously replaying unresolved family dynamics, we're likely to create conflicts instead of authentic connections. Old projections aim better bosses or co-workers to flourish. So you're just recreating it. Okay, again, repetition compulsion. The unconscious need to reenact early traumas in an attempt to overcome or master them. The early painful experience is repeated in a new situation, symbolic of the repressed prototype. Man, that's a great sentence. Repetition compulsion acts as an unconscious resistance to therapeutic change, since the goal of therapy is not to repeat, but to remember the trauma and to see its relation to present behavior. So the positive intention in the therapy model is the client's going to show you in the present, reenact with the therapist or the friend in the present what happened in the past. He's showing you what happened in the past. The therapist says, you're showing me what happened in the past. What do you mean? You're recreating it here. What do you mean? Well, either he sees the therapist as the parent, coaxes him to reject him, interacts that way, sees it that way, so confirming, because that's his armor, that's his feeling. Or he flips him, therapist plays him, he plays the parent, criticizes him the way he was treated. So he recreates in the passive or active way what happened in the child. So that's the knowledge. Once you're aware of it, it leads to mourning. Once you realize all the time lost doing this, the truth, mother failed, really, mother hurt me so much, and this all happened because she's traumatized herself. She couldn't love because she was in a painful thing. So you learn about that the mother was engaged in a hope to get a better past, wasn't supposed to be able to present. She was so blind like that. Oh my God, my mother really failed me. That big time. I thought parents are, you can trust them. Oh, she big time betrayal. It's called the betrayal trauma. Most mothers are inflicting betrayal trauma on their children. A great hope fell. You heard no noise. The wreckage was of that old cunning tale that led to it, called betrayal trauma. It's on a purpose, of course. So there's a whole topic, open a door, a whole topic on the old cunning tales and how it is and why it is and the variations and the different variations of the theme of how it is that mothers are misattuned, malattuned, failing the kids like that. They might turn to the kid to mother them. They want to shame the kid, thinking that they can master that they were shamed by being the active aggressor, thinking they can undo that they were shamed if they shamed their own kid. Nonsense. A parent shaming her kid doesn't undo that she was shamed by her parent, but she thinks this Faustian deal. She'll get the power. Maybe she can do it. Time like that. Doesn't make sense. Or she's trying to remember that she was shamed, so she shames her own child to remember that she's been shamed. Or she wants the kid to play a role, to disperse the tension, or give her hope, and the kid can't be himself because he's too busy doing something on the mother's side. And the kid is scapegoat or caught up in a role. Now, sometimes the role, if it's compatible with his vital self, it's okay. But often the role the kid has to play is incompatible to his vital self, and it's hurtful like that. I gotta confess, I'm in a dip with my videos. I was calmer. The past couple of days, I've been a little anxious. I've been feeling, I get into these slight moods with my videos. I'm in a bit of a dip here. Sometimes I have a calm, fresher, happier mood. Sometimes I'm a little more, not as so. I'm in a slight dip like that. Kind of a bit of a sine curve like that. So let's see how it goes here. Okay, one last time here. Repetition compulsion, the unconscious need to reenact early traumas in some kind of hope to get a better outcome. Because people say master it or undo it or overcome it, get a better outcome. The pain makes you repeat. The pain makes what does the baby? What does the bird do? What does the baby do when he's in pain? Looks for mother. He's a love fugitive from the love that he seeks. He doesn't remember mother hurt him, but he's searching for the one that hurt him. He's searching for the one that hurt him. It's a circuit. Symbolic. So mother hurts him again, or later on, it's symbolic. He's rejected again. He's trying to get out of the pain. How does the baby get out of the pain? Well, feel safe with the mother. Then he's no longer in pain. He's in pain because his needs weren't met. Pain is a signal. Stress and tension and fear and shame and pain and anger, rage, fury. This is all signals that his needs were not met. So he's trying to communicate. Mother, can't you see I'm angry? Can't you see I'm scared and all that? Mother says, now it's all about me. Your needs remind me of the pain I had. I don't want to be reminded of the pain I felt. Seeing your needs reminds me. I'm triggered. I don't want to see your needs. Mother, please see my needs. No, it's too painful to see your needs. I hate this. Oh my God. Yeah, that's just another. That's called the anniversary. Yesterday about the anniversary reaction, like the trigger thing. So children going through what they're going through reminds the parents of what they went through, and then so then they cope with it by ignoring the child because they don't want to deal with it. Head in the sand, just about, I don't see it. Gaslights to be. No, you don't, because if the mother was gaslit by her mother, she'll gaslight the child idea. So deny the reality, called denial. I don't want to know. Denial is a way to deal with pain. Yeah, so we're meant to, so in the therapy process, you're meant to talk, tell your story, free association, try to remember. If you feel pain, you just act out, repeat. So repetition compulsion is a defense mechanism. It's also a defense mechanism. It's also classified as a defense mechanism. A defense mechanism, something you do to get away from pain. Something you do because you don't want to remember. Something you do, project, blame, either or thinking, my greedy, your greedy thing. So coaxing people play roles to reenact the past. Treating others the way you're treated, identification, aggressive, fallacy, any kind of jungle survival setup like that. Oral fixations, smoking, drinking, gambling, promiscuity, manic behavior, keeping busy. Oh, there he is. That's somebody's pizza. Okay, now let's go to the dictionary. Okay, let me just jump into the dictionary. So it's not a complete story here, but it's part of the picture here. All right. Okay, repetition compulsion. All right. So I'm reading from a 1970 dictionary of terms, but his dictionary of his entries are kind of like mini essays almost, right? All right. Repetition compulsion is a psychoanalytic term for the tendency to repeat past behavior and, more narrowly, to relive disturbing experiences. Freud viewed repetition compulsion as an unconscious thing that we do, nothing to do with pleasure, that bypasses that. So it's just get over it. So people think, well, people want pleasure. If it's painful, why do you do it? Well, you're in pain. You want to get a better outcome. That overcomes your survival. Survival overcomes living and loving. The idea. All right. Okay, it kind of gives some little examples that kids repeat things. I don't want to get into that kind of thing. Yeah, okay. Another example given by Freud is the tendency of divorced people to choose a new mate who has the same faults as the original one. This tendency may be an expression of what he called a destiny neurosis. That's the first time I've seen it. I didn't know. A destiny neurosis. I don't know what translation he's going by, but I don't think I've seen that from the other ones. Maybe it is I don't know. Destiny neurosis. You'll only be attracted to a mother who failed you. If mother hurt you, you'll only be attracted if it's a guy. Okay, it depends here. Depends on which parent you take after. So sometimes the boy will kind of take after the mother, let's say. That means when he gets married, he'll choose a wife with the same personality like his father. So he's kind of like acting his mother, and he's familiar. He learned it. So the way his mother and father related, he's going to recreate that same way by playing the mother and finding a woman to play the father. How come it's so similar like my childhood? As above, so below. So the child's growing up. He's watching a training film about the relationship called the couple imprint. He grows up, plays the more pleasant one, the less painful one, the one he admires, but the condition is that admired one married the painful one, so he's got to find a partner to play the painful one and recreate it. So if you're doing that's what he means by destiny neurosis. It's nothing to do with gender, right? So commonly the girl takes after the father, but marries a man like the mother, and is relating, and she's relating to him, okay, the way she saw her parents relate to each other. Now the woman herself doesn't like the mother, let's say, and she says to herself, I would never want to marry a man like my mother. No way, no way. So she identifies with the father, but she'll only be attracted to a man like the mother, because he's playing the couple imprint. He's playing him. She's got to find a guy to fill in the role of her mother. This is the neurosis, destiny neurosis, fate neurosis. You're just stuck in this repeating thing. So this is the strange attraction like that. And this is, he calls it paying the piper. You do it again and again and again. Because the piper idea is that you didn't save your mother, and you're blaming yourself. You're blaming yourself for not fixing your mother. Pay the piper. Do it again, repeat. Do it again, repeat. Do it again, repeat. You're suffering, paying the piper because you didn't save the mother. Nonsense. It's no baby's job. Nonsense. No child is guilty. This nonsense. No child is guilty or did anything wrong. But they believe that due to the attachment need. Attachment was failed. The parent did wrong. The parent should pay the piper, not the child to the mother. It's the other way. It's flipped, right? The idea. The parent should apologize him. Idea. All right. This tendency may be an expression of what he called the destiny neurosis. The compulsion. Again. Another example given by Mr. Freud is the tendency of divorced people to choose a mate who has the same faults as the original mate. This tendency may be an expression of what he called a destiny neurosis. The compulsive, unconscious need to rearrange life experiences in such a way that one is bound to suffer failure and defeat. Neurotics of this type invariably blame an unkind fate for their continual reversals, and are unaware that they are themselves responsible, or that they are paying the piper for deep-seated feelings of guilt. So you feel guilty. You're not guilty, but you feel guilty because you're in pain. If you're in pain, you think you did something wrong. You think you're being punished. If your mother doesn't meet your needs, you think maybe you're defective. Shame. You did something wrong. You're not what your mother wanted. So you think you're guilty because you're not what she wanted. That's shame, rejection. Now you're in pain. You know, yeah, and you're being punished, and you're defective. Oh my God, unlovable, unworthy, all that stuff. So now dependence, this unconscious skill, I got to pay all the time, do all the time, guilt all the time. The debt, guilt and debt are the same word, by the way. So now the child feels always in debt, always in guilt. He can't be happy because he's in guilt. He's got to pay. He's got to pay all the time, and he pays with this. He pays by repeating, by continually serving the role the child was put in by her, because that role was the mother's attempt to feel better about herself. That role made the mother feel better about it. If she shamed her own kid to feel better, that's the role. The child is cursed with this destiny neurosis to play the role to make the mother feel better, because the child thinks mother wants him to suffer, so she feels better, because the mother wants oneness. If she's unhappy, the child's unhappy. That's the mother's attempt to get the fusion. Doesn't work, you're stuck there. It doesn't work. The mother turning to the baby to be a symbiotic, blissful union of the mother that she didn't get using the kid. I made you to find me idea. It's never going to work. So there's constant, timeless guilt like that. Repetition compulsion is to put to positive use, what we said before, in the therapy idea. So this can be a positive thing here. Freud found that his patients had a compulsion to re-experience their childhood difficulties during analysis. And they also tended to repeat basic relationships by putting the therapist in the place of one or the other parent. This process is called transference. Transfer from one past to the present. You transfer past to the present, called transfer, and act it out. Repetition compulsion is also known as transference acting out. You transfer the past to the present, or the present is still the past. There's no time there, so the present is the past, or you transfer the past to the present. So when you live the past in the present, that's called you transfer the past to the present. This process called transference enables the person to bring his feelings and attitudes into the open. With the aid of the therapist, he becomes more aware of them and learns to understand and cope with them. During this process, he also finds new ways of approaching his difficulties and practices them repeatedly during the therapy. All right. One guy calls it a blind impulse. Is that it? Okay, let's leave it there. All right. So that's a new one. So we got two new phrases here: the pay the piper and this trance and this neurosis one. What do you call it again? Destiny neurosis. Destiny neurosis. This tendency may be an expression of what he called the destiny neurosis, the compulsive unconscious need to rearrange life. So you rearrange it. So that woman we discussed earlier, that Gretchen woman, discussed it a couple of days ago. This Gretchen woman, as a child, had a mean father. Okay, when she married a guy, he was okay, but it freaked her out. It's something new. It's out of her comfort zone. Familiar, family, familiar, liar, pain, familiar, family, family's familiar. So if the family was the mean father, unfamiliar with a nice guy. So she coaxed, prodded, psychologically, covert, sneakily, and manipulative. Okay, misplaced his mail all the time, put too much salt in the thing, moved the stuff around. Again and again, she played innocent. She was coaxing, drip by drip, called passive aggressive, psychologically aggressive, covertly aggressive, subtle thing. She was trying to coax him. Come on, be mean to me. I can't. You're a nice guy. I can't take this. I'm bored. I can't deal with this. It's too much anxiety. I want to recreate the past. Destiny neurosis. I've got a destiny to make you mean. I couldn't find a man mean enough to marry, and I couldn't see anybody mean enough. But I knew I could make you mean, so I'm going to make you mean. The guy said he confessed later on. I can't. Why is she doing this? Why is she provoking me? Why is she coaxing, prodding, nudging me again and again and again with this daily thing of losing my mail and doing this that I don't want. I've said 100 times, don't do this. She's trying to make me. Why is she doing this? Why is she provoking me to be mean to her? Well, that's what she's familiar. That's her armor. That's what she's familiar with. That's her armor. That's her safety place. She wants to live the present, the past. She's recreating in the present a symbolic version of the past. So it's out of her comfort zone. Love is out of her comfort zone. Pain is her comfort zone. Familiar like that. This is the neurosis, destiny neurosis, right? So if you're not aware, you just recreate, repeat, relive. So we're not living. He calls Firestone likes to say, we're not living in the present. We're just reliving the past all the time, unless you're conscious, right? So consciousness is the way out. Consciousness is the ticket. Consciousness is the healer. Humans are conscious. We can be conscious. Age of awareness, age of self-awareness, age of consciousness, age of self-knowledge. We have consciousness. Okay, we got a huge boost with this simple phrase by Mr. Freud, repetition compulsion. Makes us conscious, right? The Greenberg film. Shrink said to the guy, "Sir, you have trouble living in the present. So you linger in the past, recreate the past, live in the past, the present's the past. You're always in the past because you never lived it. You didn't get mother's love. You're in pain. You never processed it. You couldn't know it. You couldn't even know the past. You never lived it because you're spaced out. You're living in the past." And another one is on YouTube, Miss Amy Baird. In the interview, she said, "You create your childhood situation in the present due to the pain you're feeling. You're in pain. So create the childhood thing in the present because you're in pain and you want a better past." Same idea, destiny neurosis. Pay the piper. So pay the piper. You feel guilty to the mother. No baby's guilty. No baby's guilt. No baby's guilty to the mother. This is nonsense. This is called the moral defense. Fairbairn puts it this way. If the mother must be seen as ideal for a safety, called a fantasy bond, which is later a bondage, but in the beginning it's a fantasy bond. Mother must be amazing. Mother's hurting him. There's no mother. His anger's attacking him. Monster. Saying you're no good. He's saying to himself he's no good. That's a confusion. He's saying to mother, "I'm angry at you, and my anger is a cry for your love." Blocked. Water hits the bank, rebounds in. When the baby's voraciously, desperately angry, to the mother, blocked, angry to himself, he's criticizing himself. "You're no good. You're no good. You're not meeting my needs. You're no good. You're wrong. You're wrong. Guilty, guilty, penance. Pay the piper. Pay the piper." To himself. He's saying that to himself. He's saying it to himself. He's his own worst enemy. He's his own worst threat. Internal self-saboteur. Fifth column. He's doing it to himself. Can't you see? Can't you see? Can't you? This is happening within like that. By the way, on this point, key point here, it's so painful to face this. It's so painful to face this inner conflict, self-system, anti-self system, which is overlaid onto yourself. You want to be yourself, but your anger's attacking you. It's so painful to face. So what we do to soothe ourselves or distract ourselves is to create an outer thing. We create, bing, something unfamiliar. Oh, there's a threat. So when someone wants to plunder a place, they say they're a threat. Bing, okay, then you create an outer conflict as a defense to distract you from the pain of the inner conflict. It's easier. It's to not feel the pain of your inner conflict. You make one on the outside to distract you from your inner conflict. Michael Jackson, play the song Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror. Look in the mirror. Look, can't you see? Can't you see? Can't you see? Look in the mirror. It's with them. It's with them. You know, you don't want to face it. You don't want to believe it. It just makes it. You manufacture on the outside as a defense against. So you externalize on the outside as a defense mechanism. If you project, you externalize, it distracts your mind on the outside. Then you don't face it on the inside because it's too painful on the inside. So how do we face the inside? There's the courage, right? There's the integrity and courage called self-honesty. Fighting the good fight. Play Rick Emmett. Fighting the good fight. Fighting the good fight is the inner thing. Looking within like that. So this is what all these quotes are about. You got to be conscious, have somebody to talk to, and look with them. Look for your patterns. You have a pattern. When did it begin? See an example of it. Own your projection. Okay, projection means everything you're saying about others, so you don't want to know what's within. Look in the mirror. Identification. You want people to identify with your projection so you can replay the past. Again, repetition, compulsion, and coaxing people into roles called projective identification. Okay, to recreate, to reenact, that's defense against memory. You don't want to remember. It's hard to remember. Although the whole Janov thing was a mess like that, but people were wanting to remember. People had a sense. I feel trauma. I don't remember. I want to process this. I want to know it. So people have been trying to know. So Mr. Freud said, don't bypass your resistance. Just free associate. Say what comes to mind. Notice your resistance. Keep going. And just bit by, then you get a dream. Say more. It's a gradual thing. So you gradually want to find your story. Narrative medicine. When you get your story, you remember. You stop repeating. Okay. Bruce Ecker, memory reconsolidation. The two sides like that. You got to and the ultimate thing is you got to, number one, you got to give up hope for a better childhood path. Give thee all hope for a better childhood path. Every time you reach for a cookie, you're hoping for a better childhood path. You're in pain, you want mother's love in the path. You want mother's sweetness in the path. Mother's comfort, mother's soothing. Okay, stimulating fluid, breast milk. Okay, no, wine is not, come on. Right? Material things, stable, things you buy. Now, like the advertisers say, you buy this thing, it's stable, durable. You think, well, you'll be important. You have an identity if you buy it. They're appealing to your unmet needs, advertising. So this is the hope to get a better past. We have to end this thing about getting it. Then Sophia Loren comes back. Then Snow White comes back. Then Rapunzel comes back. Then the princess comes back. Then you feel embodied, real alive, and you're good. And you're in the present. And your physiology is better. Your body temperature cools. Your blood circulation is normal, and all the physiological things will align. Because of stress, the blood might be constricted to the vital organs, so you get poor circulation on the extremities, he said. Temperature a little too hot, he said. Things sort itself out like that. And all the psychosomatic ailments, okay, all your stress rebounding in yourself, it affects the body. And the pain is the cry to mother's love, by the way. The pain in the body, the symptom of the body, the issue with the body, okay, whether you realize it or not, the pain or not, it's still a cry for mother's love. Psychosomatic symptoms are still the ongoing cry for mother's love. This unmet need is timeless. I mean, there's no time to unmet, and that's what's hurting us. That quote, where is it now? A couple of days ago, I wonder if I can find it quickly. Should I look, can I dig it up here? Let's see if I can find it quickly. Where was it? 40, 44? Oh, here's another one. Traumatic reenactment. Traumatic reenactment, or repetition compulsion, is an attempt of the unconscious to replay what's unresolved so we can, quote, get it right. This unconscious drive to relive past events could be, what are the mechanisms that work when families repeat unresolved traumas, and it goes on to the next generation. We are likely to keep repeating our patterns until we bring them into the light of consciousness. Hang on a second. Let's see if I can find it quickly here. Oh, the sentence one. Oh, there's one about the sentence. There's a very good quote. You know, okay, here's a way to find, here's a quick way to, okay, I got another way to find it. Hang on. What's that? Was it this one? Yeah, so. It is the memory of the deprived childhood that keeps on hurting us. There we go. It is the memory. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Of being loved during one's childhood. It is the memory. How'd it go again? It is the memory that's hurting us. It's the memory of being unloved that's now hurting us. It's now hurting us again and again and again. The memory of being unloved. That one simple sentence summarizes it. Memory of the deprived childhood that keeps on hurting us. Again. It is the memory of the deprived childhood that keeps on hurting us. It is the memory of the deprived childhood that keeps on hurting us. So go to TQ, the video 3305. Go to 3305 if you want to hear more of that. Or go to the short section. The clip is entitled Psychic Defense Mechanisms Are There for a Reason, Part 6. So I did a 6-part series on it. Actually, it's one of the most popular shorts in the channel. It got over 1,000 views, 8 likes. That's a pretty good one, right? That's a very popular one there. I get a lot of goose eggs, but once in a while I get one that's look at that, I guess all these goose eggs, eh? Yesterday we did the genie joke, the Rene Descartes joke, one about the sandwiches, and a few others. Okay, sorry. Where are we here? Repetition compulsion, the tendency to repeat past behavior. More narrowly, more specifically, to repeat or relive the painful one, the painful stuff. Okay, for example, the marriage idea. So she had a mean father, only marry mean man. If he's not mean, make him mean. That destiny neurosis. And then you blame something on the outside for that? No, you're doing it. You're doing this. You think you're paying the piper. You think you're trying to resolve your guilt. You think you're paying penance to your mother. You think that you're guilty, but you're not guilty. But you make yourself feel guilty, and that's the condition. That's the way to have to tie to the mother. Unconscious guilt is the tie to the mother because she punished you When she didn't meet your needs, it's perceived as a punishment, a rejection. Punishment, rejection, punishment, pain, guilt. Okay, that's your constant timeless guilt, timeless guilt, timeless guilt. So if somebody's in guilt, what do I got to do? What do I have to do? Well, repeat. Okay, it didn't work. Repeat, didn't work. You're in a timeless repeating. So it never satiates like that. Only consciousness gets us out of this. All right. Now let's leave it there for repetition compulsion. Now let's. By the way, what I'm referring to is let's see. Yeah, here we go. The Encyclopedia of Human Behavior. 19. There it is. Oh, there it is. Volume 2. Yeah. So I think we'll spend the next couple of days with this book here. So that's one entry. Now let's do another entry. So I might do maybe 2 or 3 entries in each video for the next little while. I'm thinking. Okay, in a sec. Let's. The other entry I want to do is. See, I don't need to post it because it's kind of elementary in a way, but it's for myself as well. We don't have a thread on creativity. We don't have it, but I would like to think that maybe in the future, maybe we can have a thread on creativity. So I'm a way off. I'm kind of. We've got 65 topics on the go. One topic being repetition compulsion, right? And many other topics. But we don't have a thread at all. I don't have any quotes on this creativity area. So this dictionary entry is just a typical familiar 101 that everybody knows about. Okay, research, rest, incubate, and spontaneously you might get an idea and then put into form. People like it, oh, you're creative. So this is just a typical 101 old idea about creativity, but it spells out a little bit, and I need some kind of foundation myself. So in order for me to hopefully have some creativity, I need to do what it says here. Creativity. Oh, sorry. The entry is called creative thinking. I gotta. Now the printing is not too super good. I wish I had a printer. I could just print it on paper. Okay, creative thinking. Okay, it's a longer entry, so stay with it. Hang in there. Creative thinking. What's that? Well, it's a form of directed thinking applied to the discovery of new solutions to problems, new techniques and devices, or new artistic expressions. Everyday thinking is largely devoted to problems that can be solved by assembling readily available information and applying established rules. This closed system approach is usually sufficient for most of our practical difficulties, such as fixing something or something you got to do at work. Okay, so that's your regular thinking, right? You got a rule, you got what you're not supposed to do is the rule book or whatever. So okay, but occasionally we are faced with problems that cannot be solved by this closed system, this conventional thing. Sometimes problems require a more open system. The kind that can best be termed creative or adventurous even. We usually associate the artist, the scientist, the inventor, with this type of thinking. But in a world as complex and changing as ours, a high degree of creativity is demanded in every phase of life. The psychological studies of creative thinking have focused largely on scientists. Although it is not easy to put their thinking processes into words, there appear to be 4 major steps in the germination of original ideas. See Wallace, 1926. 1926. Oh, I'm posting this in the year 2026. Okay, so 100 years ago, Mr. Wallace pointed out the core 4 points. Number 1, preparation. Preparation. The scientist prepares himself for discovery by studying the work of his predecessors. See, that's what I'm thinking. See, I'm studying all this past quotes from shrinks in the past. Even this book, 1970 book, I'm studying the past stuff, right? So I'm preparing. So I'm in the preparation mode, right? 6 years, 6 years in. The scientist prepares himself for discovery by studying the work of his predecessors. In the process, he assembles pertinent facts, clarifies his thinking, raises meaningful questions, and finds promising leads. Thorough preparation frequently shortens the period of actual discovery. Einstein began thinking about the basic concepts of physics in their relation to the speed of light when he was a student of 16. It took 7 more years of intensive study and fact gathering before he realized he could resolve the discrepancies in current theories by questioning the ordinary concept of time. After that, it took him only 5 weeks to write his revolutionary paper on relativity, even though he was employed as a clerk in some bureaucratic office somewhere. He was a clerk, and he was an office clerk, and he wrote the famous essay. All right. The fact that many, but the point is, Einstein did a lot of research, reading, and started at 16, right? And they asked questions, they let it incubate. Poof, got an idea. Eureka, that's the eureka moment, right? Okay, the fact that many scientific aha moment, yeah. The fact, but you won't get he's saying here, you don't get these aha, eureka moments if you don't do any kind of preparation, what happened in the past, ask questions about it, questions, past knowledge, question, rest, go for a walk on the beach, eureka moment. Step on the bus, and you had one here about a guy going on the bus. The moment he put his foot on the bus, oh, he solved the major problem. So he's mindlessly going to work. The bus door opens. He puts his foot on the step on the bus, and he solved the major problem in mathematics or something. Okay. So preparation is the point is number one. Preparation. The fact that many scientific discoveries are accidental seems to deny the importance of preparation. Alexander Fleming happened to place some Staphylococcus, some kind of a bacteria, on a plate that contained penicillin mold, and found that the penicillin dissolved the bacteria. Here was a happy accident that led to a whole new chapter in medical science. And yet, was it completely accidental? It is highly unlikely that a person untrained in bacteriology would have noticed this effect or realized its importance. And he certainly would not have followed it up by performing a series of experiments. In other words, preparation is essential in transforming chance events into significant discoveries. Bread mold, oh my God, containing penicillin had been used by the German people for over 1,000 years as a treatment for infection. Yet none of them followed up on this lead scientifically because they did not have the proper preparation. So this is kind of like herbal treatment, like grandmother's herbal method. You don't know why it works, but it works. For 1,000 years, the Germans used bread mold as penicillin and didn't really follow up on it to make it formal. They just kept doing it. So it's an accident, but they don't have proof or something. They just keep doing it, right? Whereas if you have knowledge and study and figure it out, then you can say it's a discovery or something. So these happy accidents, if you have prior knowledge of research, there it is. But you discover something and you just keep on doing it, like the bread thing. okay. There is so much emphasis on okay, next one here. I see. So if during these 1,000 years, the people doing this with the bread somehow researched this more deeply, it could have been a discovery, an invention earlier. Maybe. Is that it? Is that what it means? Or this Fleming guy was a beneficiary of 1,000 years of this activity. Okay, whatever. Let's go next one. There is so much emphasis on inspiration in art, and the importance of preparation. Yeah, musicians, they practice day and night, 24/7 with their piano or their guitar for decades and decades, and then eureka, they got a hit song, so. Now, coming up in this essay, somebody had a fluke. They had a hit song by accident, but there was no prior training. It was one of these fluke things, and you can never get another hit. These are the one-hit wonders. They get a one-hit wonder, but they can't reproduce it because there's no prior preparatory background. If you have a preparatory background, you can produce. Now, sometimes there's a fluke moment, but that's probably just it. That one fluke moment. He mentions it here coming up. Oh, I lost it. Hang on a second. Sorry, this takes forever to load this thing here. Oh, is that to get it back? Okay, back to the art one. There is. Hang on a second. Let me plug this battery. I gotta plug this in. Okay. All videos from now on will be under 2 hours and 50 minutes due to the storage limitation on my phone until that gets resolved. Okay, there is. See, and another thing I want to read later on about time. When you're feeling good, time flies. We know that, right? When things. So some of my videos, I'm having fun, and time flies. If you're tired and dragging on, 1 hour feels like 3 hours, right? Yeah. Okay, let's do the time one later. There is, back to the art, there is so much emphasis on inspiration in art that the importance of preparation in this field is often overlooked. But biographies of great writers, musicians, and artists invariably reveal that they have gone through long years of self-training, practice, and experimentation before they were able to develop their own techniques. Child prodigies appear to start ahead of the game, and yet they must also go through this process if they are to develop mature creativity ability later on. People who have been inadequately prepared occasionally produce a single good work, more or less by chance, but they seldom repeat or build on these victories. Okay, next one. Okay, that's number one, right? Preparation. Number two. Ready for number two? Incubation and illumination. Incubation. Let it incubate. All right. So you prepare. Take a vacation. Rest. Let it incubate. Like the egg, right? Let it incubate. Overemphasis on sudden inspiration also makes us overlook another side of the process. Once we have adequately prepared ourselves to solve a problem and are eager to find a solution, it takes time for creative ideas to ripen. During this so-called incubation period, our mind continues to mull over the problem on an unconscious or semi-conscious level, and in some cases at least a solution rises to the surface and dramatically presents itself in the form of a sudden insight or illumination. In other words, we see the light. There is an air of mystery about creative thinking, since the process of incubation is indescribable and the moment of illumination unpredictable. We do know that many solutions occur to us after a period of relaxation or sleep. Sleep on it, right? But psychologists differ in their opinion about the process that produced them. Some claim that when we think about the same problem persistently, we get into a rut. But after a rest period, we are likely to approach it from a new angle. Others believe we actively work out the problem during the rest period itself. Well, back to Mr. Descartes. I guess we made a joke about this guy. Here he is again here. Descartes, for example, claimed that the basic idea of analytic geometry came to him in 2 dreams. A guy named Frederick Kekule, or Kekule, whoever he is, had a dream in which a snake seized its own tail, and this suggested the ring configuration of the benzene molecule. All right, Herman Hilprechuk, whoever he is, solved a Babylonian inscription in a dream, and Henry Poincaré claimed that the idea of the calculus suddenly popped into his mind as he put his foot on the step of a bus. So calculus was born the moment Henri Poincaré stepped on the bus. The poet A.E. Housman insisted that his poems originated in the pit of his stomach and later rose into consciousness. Mozart claimed that he had a visual image of his melodies in the form of a wavy line which gradually and automatically congealed into notes. Wow, that's something, eh? Mozart, my goodness. That's really from the unconscious. That thing with Mozart, my God. And finally presented itself to him as a completed work. Oh my God. So you know about music and your unconscious blends it in with your knowledge, and there it is, poof. Oh my God, eh? These experiences are all on the descriptive level, but they argue strongly for the theory of unconscious thinking. Okay, so incubation, he calls it unconscious thinking. So you think about it in your preparation, give it to your unconscious, and then poof, it comes up. There you go. Number 3, are you ready for number 3 here? Number 3, verification. We got to test it out here. The process does not end with the aha moment or illumination, for no idea is genuinely creative until it is put to the test. The artist's vision must be expressed in stone or paint, and the scientist's hypotheses must be tested through observation and experimentation. There is less agreement on the standards on which artistic productions are judged than the standards for scientific discoveries, but the important fact is that each requires verification of some kind. So if nobody likes your painting, maybe it wasn't creative, right? Even in science, there is some verification in the process. An idea that is inherently coherent requires less extensive testing than an idea that is more fragmentary. Observations made during one eclipse of the sun were enough to convince many physicists of the validity of Einstein's theories on light and mass, but thousands of trials were necessary before tranquilizers were accepted in psychiatry. Einstein's ideas were an integral part of the broader theory of relativity, but we do not know enough about the brain and nervous system to explain why Tranquilizers act as they do. Okay, what kinds of people are most likely to be creative? A number of personality studies have been made, but there are few, if any, consistent findings. Okay, let's get at this. Okay, there's a section here about, you know, male or female, or are men more creative or female, or is it if you're neurotic, does that make you more creative? If you're neurotic, does that make you, some say yes, some say no? If you're traumatic or something, you have more access to the unconscious, but not necessarily. You could be neurotic and not be creative, doesn't mean that. Okay, so let's skip all that stuff here. Sometimes just being like gullible. If you're gullible about things, then they're more open, so then things come to you. Is that it? Oh, that's it? Oh, that's it. Oh, conclusion. The evidence does indicate that training, knowledge, and hard work are absolutely essential, and an opportunity to mull over the ideas and let them percolate by themselves is highly useful. But even though these procedures are religiously followed, no one can predict whether they will produce truly creative solutions. Why do we say 4 here? That was the testing. Verification, incubation, and research. Where were the 4 again? Preparation. Oh, incubation and illumination. That's 2 and 3. Oh, I see. So preparation, number 1. Incubation, number 2. Aha! Eureka, number 3. And the whole testing, verification, number 4. All right. So we know about this kind of thing. Okay, let's just leave it. Oh, let me get the umbrella. Oh, while I get the umbrella, let's play some music here. Is it going to be a full-on rain or just a drizzle? Let's see. Oh, I welcome the rain here. Let me try out another mystery song. Hold on a sec. I just want to try out another song here. Let me put my foot on it this time. Oh, the fan's still working. Oh, look at that. What's funny about that, eh? Okay. So we did repetition, compulsion, creative thinking, a little bit. And the other one I want to do is, let's see, do I have it here? Yeah, a little bit about, he calls it here psychophysiologic disorders, psychosomatic. Disturbances in the function or structure of a bodily organ resulting from prolonged emotional stress. So, prolonged stress on your organ can lead to a symptom. He calls it here psychosomatic symptom or psychophysiologic disorder or psychosomatic disorder. Disturbances in the function or structure of a bodily organ resulting from prolonged emotional stress. Okay, that constant memory of not being loved, that's the stress. You don't face it. The symptoms are physical or somatic and are produced in the main by overactivity of the automatic nervous system, the system which controls the visceral and skeletal changes associated with emotions such as fear and anger. So your fear and anger, it's stress. The stress builds up, psychosomatic symptom, right? That's better. All right. Talk about creativity, huh? So I had to think about how am I going to prepare the umbrella, let it incubate, and I got the idea. See, all these writers, novelists, and people who write, they're writing, or they got an idea, and then check out, right? Now, they studied writing skills and literature and languages, a lot, right? Like Robert Bly, the man studied languages his whole life, and then when he's giving a lecture, he says some fun, creative things. He's very creative and funny, many times, right? Preparation, all right? The current interpretation of psychophysiologic disorders is based on the fact that when an individual has difficulty adapting to situations and solving his psychological problems, he may be thrown into a state of tension and emotional excitement. So maybe you're triggered, right? If this state is prolonged, the usual physical changes that accompany emotion, increased blood pressure, digestive upsets, rapid breathing, pale or flushed skin, etc., become chronic and lead to definite organic symptoms. Different individuals tend to develop different disorders, such as peptic ulcers, migraine, asthma, etc. These disorders have recently been reclassified and brought under the heading psychophysiologic, automatic, and visceral disorders instead of the broader designation psychosomatic. The term psychophysiologic is used because these disorders are physiological in nature, but precipitated by psychological. The association has grouped them according to the body system affected, and the following list contains the major reaction types, although it is not meant to imply that every case of hives, etc., is emotionally produced. Those discussed as separate topics in this book have been capitalized. Most of the others are listed in the index and mentioned under topics. Okay, so you got a list there: skin, muscular, respiratory, cardio, gastro, this and that, endocrine, nerve, list here. All right, the recognition that mental and emotional factors can play a major role in organic illness has given rise to the psychosomatic approach. This is a comprehensive, holistic. It's holistic. Body. Okay. Descartes says, no, I don't want to care about the feelings of the body. I do a thing. I only want to think. His thinking, okay, like some benefits. Okay. A holistic point of view, which holds that a person's tensions, life situation, and attitudes may be directly related to the symptom picture and the core of his illness. It advocates treating the person, not the disease. Okay, so psychosomatic or holism, the holistic approach, traditional approaches, TCM, right? TCM, African holistic approaches, all of these old folk or indigenous wisdom, 99% of this stuff is holistic. Okay, i.e., treat the person, heal the person, not the symptom. Heal the person, the symptom will go away. And maintains that it is often more important to know what kind of person has the illness than what kind of illness has the patient. That's an old line there, so here it is here, yeah? So you want to know more about the person who has the problem. Forget about what problem forget about the problem. Know the person. Know the person, heal the person, whatever problems he has will go away. Don't worry about the symptoms. Heal the person, and whatever the symptoms are, they'll go away. But too much focus on the symptoms, detached from the person leading up to it, okay, with the pills and all that. It's anti-holistic. It's anti-holistic, right? That's the problem. So we had a quote from somebody. It was a Firestone. Yeah, Firestone went on a rant about this. Firestone went on a rant about this temptation that if you don't have a body-mind link and you only focus on the symptom, you're going to get more problems like that. So he's trying to preserve psychoanalysis, psychodynamic perspective, psychoanalytic perspective, okay, because it is a both and. Symptoms are expressions of your cry for mother's love. It's in the body now. The body has a pain, but it's psychological and emotional. Psychosomatic symptoms reveal and conceal your cry for mother, and you had a need for mother, you didn't meet it, wasn't met, and the cry went into your body. The pain is the cry because your mother didn't meet your need. So this is a psychological, emotional development team. The body's bearing the burden. The body bears the burden of unmet needs of the mother. The body bears the burden of your mother failing you. Your body bears the burden because you angered your mother, attacked yourself. Your body's bearing it, and it's called conversion. Again, water to ice metaphor. Water converts to ice, hardens up like that, or pain like that, converts like that. So he means if it's specific to an organ, that's kind of something you don't consciously deal with, right? That's the physio. The conversion one, it's like your limbs and all, like you're speaking, the old hysterical reactions. That's the difference. That's why I'm posting this. So the difference between the two here. The difference between the psychosomatic symptom affecting something that you consciously deal with, like you're speaking and your vision and your arms and walking like that, or something inside that you don't consciously deal with. So when your anger attacks you, it'll attack something you're not conscious of, or something you are conscious of. Okay? Does it say it here? Okay, treat the person, not the symptom. It's more important to know what kind of person has the symptom than what kind of symptom has the person. This approach applies not only to specifically psychophysiological disorders, which are brought on by emotional factors, but to diseases which are primarily physical, such as, okay, so and so and so. The role played by emotions in the onset and course of these diseases will be discussed under the topic somatopsychology. See also holism. Psychophysiologic disorders are a major health problem in our society. Over half of all the people seeking medical assistance are said to be suffering from disorders produced or aggravated by emotional factors. Okay, and he gives examples here. Okay, and it's nothing to do. Okay, there's a debate about the wealthy having certain types and the poor having other types, and the poor don't talk about it, they ignore it. So it's kind of ignored, so you can't report it like that. Yeah, the wealthy have things like allergies and migraines and those kind of things. And the poor don't just ignore it and carry on kind of thing. No generalization can be made. So we can't report it properly. There's no real point in trying to discuss about do more men get this, and there was the issue about the body type and the constitution, the temperament. Do well-built have a certain lean towards a certain way, or do the thin types have a certain? There's no real clear thing about that. The question of differing psychophysiologic disorders from conversion reactions frequently arises since both involve physical symptoms produced by psychological factors. There are, however, a number of distinguishing characteristics. All right, here we go. Psychophysiologic disorders usually involve the visceral organs, stomach, heart, etc., which are not under voluntary control. Okay, not under voluntary control. So he calls the attack on your organ, the organs which are not under your voluntary control, psychophysiologic. In each case, a single organ system is usually affected, and if the tension persists long enough, it may result in damage. All right. In contrast, most conversion reactions. So this idea of conversion or compromise reaction, conversion reaction. Okay, this affects something that is under your voluntary control. Right? In contrast, most conversion reactions involve legs, arms, vision, things under your voluntary hearing, not hearing, like arms and legs maybe, right? Speaking, arms and legs, things you consciously do. The disorder may shift from one organ to another, and damage rarely occurs. Oh, and damage rarely occurs. Oh, I see. In conversion, in hysterical conversion, so in hysteria, so in Mr. Freud's day, hysteria, you can't speak. I lost my voice. You're so afraid to speak. You try to speak, you can't speak. You try to move, I don't want to move. It doesn't affect the organ, it's all converted to some kind of immobilization. So the woman couldn't walk, or she fell down, or couldn't see for a little while. One guy couldn't see for a few weeks or for a few days. It's called conversion, hysteric conversion reaction. He doesn't want to see, so he doesn't see like that. Or he can't move his arms because maybe he's afraid to move or something. He's so afraid his arms collapse. Things like that. So when it affects your voluntary, it doesn't affect your organ, your deeper organs. That's the difference, right? So emotional issues can affect you in the old hysteric way, like Mr. Freud talked about, or it can affect your organ, the serious stuff, the more serious stuff. Yeah, and the conversions, here we go. In addition, it has been found that psychophysiologic reactions do not relieve anxiety. but aggravated, since the physical symptoms provoke additional worry. Okay, so if your anger at your mother for not meeting your needs rebounds to yourself on an organ, and your organ's having a problem, now you're worried about the organ, now you're getting more anxiety, more stress. So you're creating more anxiety, more stress, because you're worried about the effects that you have on hating yourself. But again, hating yourself is the cry from mother's love. But mother said, you can't be angry at me. Who do you think you are, baby? So he's angry at himself. And then he gets a symptom, then he's worried about the symptom he's getting. So it increases the thing. Versus conversion, on the other hand, conversion reactions are quite effective in allaying or covering anxiety. And as a result, the person may display a bell indifference or happy unconcern. Really? They may also produce more secondary gains in the form of attention and sympathy. So they may use it to get benefits from others. Why? Is that okay? No, now you lost me here. Why would this conversion not give you this feeling of unhappy concern? I don't care. Bell indifference, I don't care. Oh, because you're getting benefits from other people? Oh, because it's kind of big? Oh, I see. So if you got a hysterical thing, like you can't speak, whatever, or you can't walk, people get a lot of attention. So you're getting a lot of direct attention. Versus if something's attacking on you on the inside, no one knows how to deal with it. But you're worried about it. It's attacking you. Is that it? Okay, I gotta work on that. I'm not a doctor, disclaimer. I'm not a doctor. That comes from page 1076. Okay, let me quickly scroll down to the time one here. It's a short entry on the time factor. And then I'll leave it there for today. So how is this exercise? Reading these entries. Sometimes I read dictionary terms. That's okay. Hang on, it's gonna show up here. Okay, the time one's not a big deal. He just gives you examples like if your emotions affect your perception of time. You're happy, time flies. You're bored, takes forever, kind of thing. So. Okay, it takes a lot. Okay, hang on. Let's just leave it there. Oh, it didn't rain, eh? Oh, look at that. Oh, good. Okay, let me take away my umbrella here. Oh, smoking. Should we do smoking? What's this? Oh, smoking. Oh. Smoking is generally described as a habit, but there is evidence that it may also become an addiction resulting from physiological dependence on nicotine. At any rate, most individuals who smoke for a period of months or years tend to acquire a psychological, if not a physiological, need that in many cases amounts to a compulsion. Okay, so you can be you can have a psychological compulsion versus an addiction to nicotine. You can have a compulsion. Okay, I see. Moreover, they usually experience withdrawal symptoms such as headaches or nausea if they suddenly give up smoking. And such symptoms are characteristic of addiction. How long is this? Hang on, how long is this? Oh, this is several pages. Oh, this is like 5 pages long. Should we do this one? Do you want to hear more about smoking? I see the ashtrays all over the place. It's an oral fixation. It's one of our topics. Smoking. So we cover each of the oral fixation: emotional eating, drinking, gambling, promiscuity, smoking, and the other ones. The factors that induce adolescents to start smoking are primarily social. The urge to appear mature, the pressure to conform to the group, assertion of independence, torches of freedom, I'm independent. This is they watch the advertisement. Oh, your parents don't like it. Yeah, hell, I'm going to do you don't like it. I'm independent of you. I see. Rebellion. curiosity and the urge to try something once also may play a role. Some young people discontinue after the first few attempts, especially if cigarettes produce dizziness or stomach upsets, or if they fail to give them the pleasure they expected. In many cases, however, they continue long enough to establish a habit and claim that smoking gives them satisfactions which they cannot always put into words. Yeah, you're triggering the nursing, the nipple, the cigarette, cigarette. Okay, it might remind you of the thumb sucking, the pacifier, using your own thumb, because mother didn't nurse you. You comforted yourself in that way. You're just continuing that. If you were nursed, you wouldn't smoke. If you were properly nursed, you wouldn't be a smoker. Smokers were not nursed properly. Emotional eaters, drinkers, none of them were nursed. None of them had the proper, good enough maternal experience. Put it that way. Plus, it triggers the time when you had mother, but it fails. So at least when you smoke, you're excited, you feel important, social, other benefits, you get independent, you have something, you're going to be important, you're going to do it, you feel like magical thing, you're going to wave the wand, a magical thinking. It's a magical thinking, you think you're going to make something, I'm going to feel better, I'm going to make myself feel better, the magic stick here. And then you trigger the nursing. So that means you're going to trigger the oneness of the mother. So you're going to try to remind yourself, bliss one. Then you get the chemistry of the bliss one is an unexplainable feeling. I feel a little better. I feel calmer because you're one of the symbiotic stage. It goes down, do it again. So you're addicted to the happy chemicals of the good old days over the pain you're feeling. And when something you do makes you feel better, there's a tendency to do it again because you learned it, like you're teaching yourself. Some young people discontinue. Oh, we did that already. Okay, they can't explain it. Yeah, many of the common reasons given are, quote, smoking cigarettes gives me something to do with my hands. It helps me relax when I'm tense or upset. It's the sociable thing to do, and it curbs my appetite and helps to keep my weight down. Perhaps one of the reasons for the prevalence of smoking is that it provides a variety of mild satisfactions. Undoubtedly, advertising reinforces these satisfactions by suggestion. Okay, we can talk about the Torches of Freedom ad and all those things. Psychoanalysts have attempted to discover deeper reasons for the habit. In Freudian terms, the satisfaction gained from smoking is a residue of the oral time phase, the infantile period in which the mouth is the chief pleasures. Okay, I don't want to get into this kind of stuff here. This old, the oral time, the pleasure being one with the mother. Just keep it simple. Moreover, smoking may provide a measure of emotional security. There we go. Emotional security, as well as physical, since it harks back to an earlier stage when the smoker was given constant care and attention. Constant care and attention. So the symbolic nipple, breast, cigarette, nipple, mother, constant care and attention. So you're triggering the cigarette with the breast mother, nipple in the breast, constant care and attention with the mother. So you're triggering, you're associating constant care and attention. So you think you're getting constant care and attention when you puff, when you hurt your lungs with the toxic stuff. So you damage your lungs at the same time, but you're triggering the memory of constant care and attention that you didn't get enough of with the mother. You wanted more, it wasn't enough. Give me more, give me more. You're hurting your lungs, give me more. You're hurting your lungs, give me more. Right? According to this theory, then the cigarette serves as an oral pacifier, providing temporary relief from the tensions and stresses of life. Yeah, this author's good. These older books are a little more to the point. You know, this newer stuff, fluffy, vague. It's useless almost. It looks sounds impressive, or nice printing and formatting, these newer things, but they're taking things out. The newer dictionaries and encyclopedias, it's just fluff. The older material, a little more grittier, and a little more. This is what happened. Compulsive smoking has also been attributed in occasional cases to self-defeating behavior, since the life expectancy of heavy smokers is considerably less than that of non-smokers. Yeah, you lose what somebody said, 12 years of your life if you're a chain smoker. If you're a regular several pack a day, well, I don't know what the numbers are. Psychological studies have not revealed any marked effects of smoking on behavior. Experiments on problem solving yield equivocal results. There seems to be a slight negative effect on fine manual coordination, and in some cases on the sense of balance, but no detectable change in gross movement. Okay. The physiological effects are more pronounced, especially among heavy smokers. All right. Small amounts of absorbed nicotine have a stimulating effect on the brain and nervous system, but large amounts tend to act as a depressant. In rare cases, the optic nerve may be affected and lead to tobacco amblyopia, dimness of vision, especially for color. Oh, okay. So this can affect your eyesight, eh? Well, think about your parents. Do your parents wear glasses? Are they smokers? I wear glasses. I'm not a smoker. Okay. Effects. Maybe kids pick up the after effects, right? Why? So something, the need for love makes them smoke. It affects the eyes, and then the kids just have bad vision. Is that right? I don't know. Okay, I'm guessing around here. Effects on the circulatory system include an elevation of blood pressure, increase in heart and pulse rate, constriction of peripheral arteries, and decrease in skin temperature, especially in the extremities. Oh, is that right? So do smokers easily get cold hands and feet in the winter? Is that right? I don't know. No, but no, you know, in Germany, smoking is very heavy. I was in Germany in the summer of 2022, 4 years ago. I saw smokers everywhere, vending machines. On the roadside, everywhere you went, there was a smoking vending machine. I couldn't believe it. It's extremely common. But it's cold. It can be cold there too, right? Okay, question mark. I'm not a doctor. Gastrointestinal. Is he a doctor? Is this guy a doctor? I don't even know if he's a medical doctor. He's a psychology professor. Yeah, so what's he talking about? If he's not a medical doctor, why is he going on? Suppression of hunger contractions, loss of appetite, although the last named effect is probably due primarily to the fact that smoke dulls the senses of taste and smell. Oh, really? Okay. The most obvious effect of heavy smoking on the upper respiratory traction is irritation, as it is evident in the common complaint known as smoker's cough. This condition may be accompanied by wheezing, dyspnea, shortness of breath, chest pains, and frequent respiratory infection. In view of these effects, it is not surprising that physicians strongly advise against smoking among patients suffering from fill in the blank, which affect the small blood vessels at the extremities as well as stomach ulcer. This. Maybe he's a doctor. Okay, we're getting into a lot of medical terms here. Let me skip down a bit. Oh, pregnancy, yeah, okay. Yeah, don't smoke if you're pregnant. What else? Just leave it there. The growing conviction that cigarette smoking is a hazard to health has led many individuals to seek to break the habit. Once again, habit. It's hard to let go of a habit because you remove the H, you still have a bit. You remove the A, you still have a bit. Move the B, you still have it. Little kids joke. Simple remedies such as gum chewing rarely work for any length of time. Okay, that goes on. It gets into surveys and this survey that. Exercise. Finally, they are encouraged, exercise. Taper off. In some cases, however, addicted smokers are advised to quit smoking, all at once, though they usually experience withdrawal symptoms and even a period of mourning due to losing the close companionship. So it was like a companion for you, right? So you're losing your mother, so you're mourning when you give it up, right? Follow-up meetings, which are an integral part of the procedure of the clinic, have shown that 2/3 of those who completed 8 months of the program quit smoking entirely. Okay, so there are programs that work according to this. Social breakdown syndrome. What's this? Okay, let's just leave it there. Okay, we're getting into... Okay, he's getting more specific, more detailed, more... Okay, he's really getting into it. Oh my goodness. Social class. Oh my God. Oh my goodness, he's really getting into it, this topic. This guy, he's got a whole long essay on here. It's social. I passed it already. Okay, that's nothing much there with the smoking, right? Yeah, nothing new there with the smoking part, right? Well, have empathy. You see people smoking. Okay, mother wasn't around, not nursed properly. They're love-starved. Smokers are love-starved. You know, they're just triggering the familiar feeling of mother giving them all that attention with the breast and the nursing time. So the nipple, the symbolic nipple, reminds you of the whole mother experience while you're nursing with her. Love and attention, love and attention. Wasn't enough. Had some. There must have been some. You wanted more. It wasn't enough. So it's never enough. Now you're addicted because you're dependent. There's a negative looping effect. Oh, what are we doing? Only 2 hours in. This feels like I feel like I've been here for much longer. Oh, should we do the time one? Let me take up the time one quickly. Hang on a second. Since we're at the S's here, hold on. What's this? Specific hunger. Wow. Hunger for specific types of food. Hunger for specific types of food that fulfill different bodily needs. Oh God, you check that out here. It's better if I read it first before I turn on the camera. I thought that creativity was okay to do, and the repetition compulsion, and the pay the piper idea, and the transference. What's it called again? Neurosis destiny. So destiny. It's a neurosis destiny. I like the phrasing. It's a neurosis destiny. Neurosis means you repeat, so it feels like a destiny. No, it's a neurotic thing you're doing. Your destiny is neurotic. This kind of destiny is neurotic because you're creating it. Since you're creating it, it's called a neurotic destiny. To make it clear, it's not some outer thing that told it to you. It's not some magical whatever. even passed down through the generations. Forget about it. Just focus on how you make it happen, how you contribute, how you repeat it. This thing with the transmission of many generations, I think it can be used as a defense mechanism. Because then you blame, well, my great grandfather. That's what happened. I'm now expressing what my great grandfather couldn't express. It came to me. Oh, it's his fault, not mine. Okay, in that case, then do a Twilight Zone fantasy. Travel to wherever your grandfather is. See him as a wounded child, and say, "I honor you. I light a candle for you. I appreciate all the efforts you did for my parents. And I promise to do the best I can and honor you by being happy." And that's sort of his main exercise. This kind of. Where's the time one? We're still on the S's here. Oh, stress. Oh boy. Stupor. Oh, stupor. Okay, stupor. A mental state in which the individual is totally or almost totally unresponsive and immobile. Some people say they live their lives in a bit of a stupor, right? Yeah. Stuttering. Oh, forget about that. Too much. People spend too much time talking about obscure things like anorexia, stuttering, sublimation. Suggestion therapy. Sullivan, okay. Sullivan is strictly noted for his interpersonal theory, an approach to personality and psychotherapy based on the crucial importance of interactions with other people. Sullivan defines personality as the relatively enduring pattern of recurrent interpersonal situations which characterize a human life. If we say a man is an angry person, we are using a shorthand expression for the fact that he has reacted with anger in a large number of dealings with other people. In simpler terms, our relations with people determine what we are. They also determine our emotional security. If these relationships, especially with the significant others in our lives, are based on satisfying experiences, we feel secure. If they're based on experiences which have produced anxiety, we feel insecure and have probably developed defensive measures or security operations that distort our relationships with other people and with ourselves as well. In the latter case, Sullivan proposes an approach aimed at understanding and then altering those interpersonal relationships. Okay, he's famous for the focus on the here and now, the relationship, analyze that and tweak it, analyze that. Forget about what's causing it. Just he's more about the interpersonal. So he developed a thing called interpersonal psychoanalysis. I don't really have super ego. Oh, symbiosis. Yeah. Okay, let's it's a short. Oh, it's just a short one. Let's see. A state of extreme mutual dependence between two people, most frequently a mother and a young child, literally living together. The term originated in biology, where it is used to describe a relationship between two organisms, such as certain plants and fungi that live together and benefit from each other. A symbiotic attachment between two human beings may be so close and exclusive that it inhibits the full development of one or the other partner. In extreme cases, it may give rise to severe emotional disturbance, as in symbiotic psychosis, or lead to the transfer of an emotional disorder from one individual to another, as in folie douze. A prolonged symbiotic relationship of mutual dependence may develop if a mother is completely wrapped up in her child, excluding all other relationships. This is particularly apt to occur if the father is totally disinterested in the child or absent from the home during his first years. As a result of this exclusive relationship, the child becomes so closely identified with the mother that he does not develop a definite ego of his own and may not even see himself as a separate being at all. For this reason, he becomes utterly bewildered and panicky when the mother's not with him. Whoa, oh, that's sad. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Symbiotic children grow at an uneven pace and react in extreme ways to the slightest failure or frustration. One fall will make him give up trying to walk for months. Abrupt separation from the mother due to entering nursery school, hospitalization of the mother, or birth of a brother or sister may precipitate a severe break with reality, and a full-blown psychosis may set in. They then become highly agitated, have violent temper tantrums, and may suffer from hallucination in which they see themselves reunited with the mother. This stage often gives way to a complete withdrawal into themselves, autism, which they find more bearable than continuous panic. Oh, I see. But this is no solution, since it divorces them still further from reality. It is interesting that symbiotic psychosis may lead to the state of withdrawal and unresponsiveness which characterize autism, even infantilism, even though the two disorders appear to stem from opposite sources, one from a close dependent relationship and the other from a cold distant relationship. Okay, either way, mother's absent or two engulfing, either way. In both cases, however, the child fails to develop his own identity, does not adequately distinguish between himself and the outside world, and feels threatened by contacts with other people. Okay, this is sort of the extreme. I don't really get into extreme. The problem with these things is they usually talk about the extreme cases. Civilization, all right. Sympathy. Symptom, all right, symptom. Oh, look at that. Well, maybe this guy, maybe he's a doctor. Look at all that. He's got all that there, right? Television effects. Oh boy. I know about that. Temperament. Temper tantrum, a violent outburst of anger commonly occurring between the ages of 2 and 4, with a peak at 3. Recurrent tantrums are classified as habit disturbances of childhood and are usually accompanied by other symptoms such as urinesis, nail biting, feeding problems, stuttering, or tics. The typical tantrum rarely lasts more than 4 or 5 minutes. In the outbursts that occur between the ages of 2 and 3, the child usually lies on his back, screaming, kicking. In those between 3 and 4, he's more likely to direct an attack at other people, hitting, biting, kicking, or spitting at them. At around 4, the child adds language to his outlets, says all these awful things, okay, from them. Oh, I see. So when a person's verbally abusive, that's a temper tantrum. From that time on, words gradually replace action, and the tantrums begin to taper off. The decline occurs more quickly in girls than in boys, probably because boys have more energy. Oh, really? and are expected to be more aggressive than girls also. Society expects them to be more active. Tantrums occur as a reaction to frustration, and the frustration is usually due to being denied something the child desires. They also occur when he fails to accomplish something he wants to do, such as building a high tower out of blocks, or when he is thwarted by inability to express himself and helpless in coping with the adults who tower over him. The tantrum sets in when these frustrations mount to a point where he's completely overwhelmed. He then regresses to a primitive, uncontrolled expression of rage. These spells of anger are often out of proportion. Okay, so I'll leave it. Okay, let's just leave it there. I just wanted to read the time one. Where's the thalamus? Oh, thumb sucking. Oh, Jesus. We had a quote about that. If the child's being abused, if the child has to turn to his own thumb because the mother's nipple's not there, that's a kind of child abuse. Time sense. Okay, here we go. Time sense. Direct experience of the passage of time. The variability in our sense of time is so apparent that it hardly needs to be documented. During a boring play, time appears to last forever. At an entertaining party, it seems to fly. An absorbing 2-hour movie may seem to be over before we know it. But the 15 minutes we had to wait for our friend outside the movie house seemed to take an eternity. The experience of time also depends on our attitude toward a task. Okay? The experience of time also depends on our attitude toward a task. If we throw ourselves enthusiastically into what we are doing, we usually feel it passes quickly. If we resent it and have to plod along, time appears to slow down almost to a halt. The professor, deeply interested in his topic, will feel that his lecture has sped by, while the student waiting to attend football practice will say it dragged. In such cases, the difference between our feeling of the passage of time and the actual interval may be great enough to be termed an illusion. Several factors. Temperature. Okay. I want to better understand this issue of time, because I'm noticing it myself. I remember doing a 7-hour video once. Time flew. I felt refreshed. I was fine. I thought maybe only 3 hours passed. It was 7. I did a 7-hour video. I felt like this is only 7? Really? I thought it might have been 3. Yesterday, or 2 days ago, it felt like 3 hours, but I looked at the clock, it was only 1 hour. Like today it's only 2 hours, but it feels much longer, right? So it depends on your mood, right? Depends on your mood. See, if you're stressed, you're in the unconscious as a regression, you don't care about time. So why is it that when you're happy doing something, time flies, but when you're bored with something, it drags on forever? I'm still not fully clear. It makes sense, I get it, but I'm missing something. Okay, let's maybe wrap it up here today, unless there's any other something I'm missing here. Countertransference. Should we do one more? Countertransference. A conscious or unconscious emotional reaction of a therapist to his patient. In psychoanalysis and other forms of psychotherapy, the client displaces or transfers his own repressed thoughts and feelings to the therapist. At times he may be angry at the therapist. At times he may feel strong affection for him or her. The therapist's tendency to respond to these emotions in kind is termed countertransference. Psychoanalytic theory holds that if the therapist reacts to the attitudes and emotional outbursts of the patient, it is because they arouse his own repressed impulses. Such reactions are believed to interfere with the progress of therapy. One of the major reasons why future analysts are required to go through analysis themselves is to make them aware of the countertransfers and to enable them to adopt measures that will help them avoid becoming emotionally involved with their... Yeah, so you don't want to get sucked into the repetition, and he's playing the repetition. So the client says, I'm going to see you as my rejecting father. I'm going to act like you're my rejecting father. And if he slips into it, and he's angry and he's criticizing, I knew it, aha! It doesn't work. Therapy fails the moment the therapist engages in his transfers, or counter-transfers. It doesn't work anymore. He's got to be calm, neutral, and interpret, make you aware of what the person's doing, what he's projecting, what he's trying to coax, what he's trying to make him aware of what he's trying to create, right? Rather than be lost in it, right? One of the major, the therapist, in other words, they have to learn how to counter the counter-transfers. They have to learn how to counter their confront. So you have to be healed, right? They have to be healed so they're not triggered. Because the client sees your vulnerability and wants to poke salt on it to get a reaction, to recreate to create the symbiosis he's looking for. Now, the therapist resolved, he mourned the losses. So he's got a sense of self, and he understands himself. If he understands himself, he understands the other person. If he doesn't understand himself, he won't understand the other person. The other person is trying to create something, and they both get lost. One quote was, therapy doesn't take place if the therapist is more anxious or less aware than the other one. That's right. Yeah, that's right. I don't think I'll post shorts for this video. Maybe at the beginning about the repetition compulsion, parts of that were okay. About the paying the piper idea and the phrase, neurosis destiny. Neurosis destiny. What a phrase. Neurotic destiny. Neurotic destiny? Dysfunctional destiny. Destiny dysfunction. Okay, let's pick a song and wrap it up for today.
ship that didn't want to be put out to sea. I can't see any stars tonight. I'm at the mercy of an unknown destiny.